What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we have three news stories that we're going to go over. We have one that's police investigating virtual, I'll say, assault after a girl attacked in metaverse, because it wouldn't be the other thing, but, you know, we'll go over that story. We have Square Enix president states that the company will be very aggressive. I actually added a very, but aggressive in applying AI moving forward. And then we're going to talk about Ubisoft corrects Star Wars Outlaws releasing in late 2024 back to general 2024. So some confusion going on there. We'll talk about that as well. And then I have an extra story at the end, if we have enough time, about Monster Hunter World is soaring up the Steam charts. So that is what's on today's show. If you like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern, or about noon. If you want to be a part of the show, I comment and react to chat 100%. You guys are part of the show. I'm going to try to figure out a way, not figure out a way, I know how to do it, but I don't know if I want to put chat on screen here, or if I want to put chat on screen on the other, shot. But I feel like I should put you guys on screen. Still deciding about that, though. Only because because I'm doing breakout videos, that when I react to you guys' comments, that it's not showing up in the edit type of thing. So we'll see. More. All right, let's start off because this was supposed to be on yesterday's show. But I pushed it back because we went off, whatever. So Square Enix president states that the company will be aggressive in applying AI. So we were supposed to put this in the show yesterday and talk about the AI yesterday, but it got pushed back because we talked about other things. And then we went off on nostalgia of my dad's old car. So let me pause the music here. All right, morning water. What's going on? All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Square Enix president states the company will be aggressive in applying AI. So, Square Enix president Takashi has pinned a New Year's letter that outlines some of the vision of the company and reveals its plans to be aggressive in applying AI and other cutting-edge technologies to both our content development and our publishing functions. The New Year's letter says, becoming a staple of the New Year's Day previously one of the discussions and desire to explore NFTs, blockchain games, and metaverse, and more. This year, AI took turns in the spotlight. Now, Kuryu began by talking about the AI and its potential implications that can also long been subject to academic debate. Now, however, he says the rise of ChatGPT and similar generative AI programs have potential not only to reshape what we create, but also fundamentally change the process by which we create, including programming. Now, I use ChatGPT every single day, right? I use it every single day. It helps me make the titles for the actual shows. It actually gives me ideas for like thumbnails and whatnot. It helps. I don't use it to replace anything, but I'm using it to help me to do stuff, right? And help that process. So instead of me taking 10 minutes, it now takes me 30 seconds, right? Type of thing. So in turn, Square Enix planned to be previously mentioned aggressive in applying AI and other cutting-edge technologies to both our content development and our publishing functions. He says, quote, in short term, our goal will be enhance the development productivity and achieve greater in our marketing efforts. He also continued in the longer term, we hope to leverage those technologies to create new forms of content for consumers. We also believe that technology represents business opportunities. Now, I think a lot of people, when they look at the AI, I watched a video, I think it was like early last year, when the art AI, with all the different AI art programs that came out, there was an artist that said he's not afraid. He's been in the business for like 30 years. He's an animator at I think it was Pixar or whatever. And he was talking about how he's not scared of AI to come in and take his job, because he says it's just another tool that we could use to make different things. You have to adapt with times, right? But I think a lot of people are worried that this is just going to take over everything. And I think a lot of people still need to do things. And, life is not fair, right? It's very competitive. Doesn't matter if you're trying out for a baseball team or if you're a secretary and there's other people, applying for the job or whatnot. Lots of things that go on, and it's very competitive. So this just makes it get one more competitive state. Now you're competing not only with someone that knows how to use AI better than you, but you're also competing with just AI itself. Okay. There's also a desire to put plans in place to ensure the easier and greater collaborations between the development and publishing teams at Square Enix. And he says, in hopes that we'll make a consumer even happier than it is ever before. Now, see, they're using this as they're putting it out there saying, look, we're doing this for you. We're not doing this for us. We're not trying to save money in any way, shape, or form. We're trying to make your experience better. Okay. As for blockchains, Kuru said, added the blockchain entertainment Web 3.0, AI, and cloud, and 3 of the Square Enix main focus investment fields. And that currently working on the modifying an organizational structure, optimizing our resources, allocations, and support these efforts. Square Enix has a big year ahead of it, as fans are soon to be able to enjoy Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy XIV Second DLC, Final Fantasy Foam Stars Saga, Emerald Beyond, The Visions of Mana. While they also don't have dates, Dragon Quest III, HD 2D Remake Dragon Quest 12, and Kingdom Hearts 4 are also on the way in 2024 or beyond. So they're moving this stuff, and we read a couple articles, well, I guess last year, obviously it was last year, that other companies are also taking this AI stance, that they're not using it for the making the games yet. They're using it for other parts of the business to help them, obviously save money, right? But again, like Square Enix is saying here, it's for us, the customers. It's to make our experience feel better. I'll be honest, I don't think we'll know the difference if it's like a company making it customers feel better, because when you used to pick up the phone and call, and people used to pick up the phone and you would actually talk to somebody, and that was for customers. But then nobody picked up the phone. So then they decided to put AI as the phone operator, and then you pick it up and you're like, hello. And they're like, hello, thank you for calling. And you're like, oh yeah, I would like to. And they're like, please press 1. It's like not more convenient for us. It's not for us. It's for them, because they don't have to actually pay somebody to pick up the phones anymore. Right. It gets, shift around to make them more money, because they're not paying that person to do that job anymore. So I think it's very interesting as far as what AI is going to be doing in the future. We talked about what was the finals were using AI to make the voices and whatnot, and people were pushing back on that. So obviously this is not going to be the last story we talk about AI. AI is moving fast. It's going to be taking lots of people's jobs. You can either adapt and try to learn the AI systems, or you can just go away of the dodo and not learn or do anything with it. But then there's going to be a point that AI gets so smart that it's just going to be coding the games itself, fixing the stuff, and constantly just adapting. I would think that the world of video games, at some point, the developers are trying to make where AI basically does everything, and they just sit back and they're like, yeah, we just made a new game today. AI, make us a first-person shooter game that has this, and then it just codes it, and it's like, thank you, and then they publish it, right? These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. What do you think about AI technology moving forward in the gaming space? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's the post-apocalyptic thing and we're all done for and gaming's never going to be the same? Let me know in the comments section down below. Maybe if you like what we do here, maybe you'll check out some other videos that we do on this channel. I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. What's going on, crowded? Warner says it's for cheaper labor costs for the companies first. Companies are always trying to find a way to spend less, make more using AI helps with the overhead. Oh, for sure. For sure. What's going on, D-Money? Yeah, I think it's funny when they always try to use us, Water. Like, let's be honest. They don't have to post anything like this. They could just do stuff behind the scenes, right? Because this is how it used to work in the old days. Because we didn't have social media, okay? The only way you would find out about this stuff is if someone leaked it and said, Yeah, Square Enix is working on some AI technology that's going to take over and fire 1,000 people. They're like, hi, this is ABC News. Is this true that you're trying to get rid of people by using AI technology? And they're like, no comment, right? Now they actually literally just post stuff up there, and they're like, yeah, it's AI technology, and it's not going to do anything for against you, the customers. It's going to make your experience better. Right? I love how they always try to sell it like that. Credit House says AI is good for a handful of things and awful for everything else. Yeah, like for instance, okay, so I go to ChatGPT every day, and I take, like, for instance, like what the title is for this, right? The title of this is Gaming News, Virtual Assault Investigation, Square Enix AI, Ubisoft Star Wars Update. What I do is I take like this, right? I take this and I throw it into ChatGPT, and I say, hey, can you shorten this into a, because I got to get a certain amount of characters in my title. So I'm taking 3 titles, and I just shrink it down. Now, obviously, I could do it myself, right? But it's a lot easier, because it might take me 5-10 minutes to do all this. But now it's taking me seconds, right? So I copy this, I throw it into ChatGPT, I say, shorten this, and make it short with all these other titles. And then it condenses it. It goes boom, real fast. And I'm like, oh, okay, give me 5 options of this in a different way. And then it lists them real fast. And then I pick the one that I want the best, right? It helps me do it. But then there's other ways where just like, yeah, go ahead and do the whole show for me. You know what I mean? I'll put a VTuber vlogger over here. I won't even be on screen anymore. It won't even be my voice. I can train it to use my voice, and then you guys think it's me. You know, meanwhile, I'm having a beer on the couch. You know, there's that type of stuff. And this is why certain businesses are putting rules in place to be like, hey, you can't do this. Even YouTube. YouTube's like, you can't do these AI channels. They're trying to spin it to look good for the public and shareholders. Just produce a good quality product and some broken, buggy messes, and it will sell. Right, and that's a longer way of saying, Water, make a game, sell a game. Right? Another great way to increase profits while paying people less. Wonderful. We went to, I wouldn't really call it AI, right? But, I mean, it is, because it's a cash register. You know when you go to, like, the grocery stores now? You go to the grocery stores now, and I hate, like, if I have to buy a gallon of milk or some bread or whatever, I'll scan it, right? No big deal. But I hate when I have to buy, like, big groceries and there's no lines are open that people can help you. Now you have to go to self-checkout. You have fruit with you. Then you have to put on the scale, and then sometimes it's not there. Then you're looking at the label. You're trying to scan it in. Then you need to raise your hand or hit a button, and then someone comes over and it's like, oh, okay, and they put the little number in. It's like, why am I working? Do I get a check? Because just in this past week, I scanned my own groceries, right? I went to Shake Shack, and I put my own order in to the actual place. I have to pick it up. Okay, like, it's like, what are we doing? I would rather go to someone's house, just knock on someone's door and go, like, hey, can I have a cheese sandwich? And they're like, yeah, sure, here you go. And then I pay them, right? Like, I'm so tired of, like, me going everywhere and working. I don't get a check from the grocery store. I don't get a check from Shake Shack. I don't get a check from Costco, right? I don't get a check from all these places. I'm doing a lot of work for the stuff that I'm giving my money for at these places. Right? All of us are like employees now. Pretty soon, I'm sure they'll do this. Starbucks, if you go to Starbucks, there'll be no employees. You'll have to come in and, like, type in what you want, and then it'll tell you, go to the first station. And you go to the first station, and you're like, okay, and you push the button, and it's like, okay, now take the coffee and put it in 3 ounces. And you're like, okay, 3 ounces, and you put it, like, you're doing the whole thing, and you're like, okay, thanks so much. Here's a tip. And then you walk out, and you're like, oh, man, that's a good coffee I just made myself for $5. It's like, you could go home and just take up, grind some coffee, right? That's what's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. Pixel says first world problems. First world problems? What are we talking about? We're talking about things that you're making us do all the work. If I want to work, I'll do it myself. But if I go out somewhere, why do I still have to work? It's not a first world problem. That's a problem. There's no employees. not a first world problem. It's a problem for a person that doesn't have a job anymore because everyone else is taking their jobs from them. They're not even being replaced with AI. They're being replaced with the customers. Go dig a hole for water? Oh, Pixel. I love how you're coming in here like all, like, first world problems. I live on a farm, okay? I do shit all the time. You think this is why I stream only 2 hours a day. I do a bunch of shit on my property for myself, right? There's no first world problems here. We're talking about first world problems in the world of people losing their jobs and customers are taking the jobs from them because there's no cashiers anymore. There's no... So please don't tell me to go dig a hole. I can make a whole reality show on what the fuck I do after I get off this stream. Eric Jones says, oh, Lord, I bet you were the same person that complained 20 years ago, waiting in line with a buggy full of stuff because you couldn't go through the 20 items or less self-checkout. Do you think I'm complaining because I'm doing... Boy, yeah, I got in my buggy. Yeah, I got in my buggy with my horse and carriage. Yeah, so I guess if I was complaining 20 years ago, I guess you weren't even born then, right, Eric? AI is getting scary. My family friend who has PhD has turned down the professor of Harvard, sold the AI business for billions for a couple of months ago for Microsoft sub, the way ahead of what they released to public. Oh, for sure. For sure. I've seen some technology way ahead that we haven't seen yet. Right? The AI that they're releasing now to us, like ChatGPT-3 and ChatGPT-4 and whatnot, that's nothing compared to what they have. I'm really wound up today? Not really. Buggy's a shopping cart in Europe? Well, I know it's another term for it, but I was making a joke for it because of saying like 20 years ago, you're complaining about a buggy, and I was like, yeah, it's an old, like, I know it's a buggy, but I'm making a joke. I know. Stay with me. It's okay. Wait until they release Skynet. Well, Water, you know there's a company called Skynet, right? No red flags there. You might be older than me. What does that state, though? I mean, just saying 20 years ago, I'm complaining about self-checkout. I don't give a shit if someone's got 20 items in a 10-item thing. It just means they're stupid and they can't read. That's all that means. I'm saying in the context of the conversation that we're having about AI and how things in stores are being taken away from people that actually have jobs. And then you come in here and try to make an insult of, you're probably one of those guys that complains about the 20 items in the line. Get off of my lawn. "20 years ago, I was more worried about getting laid." What's going on, Bear? You're not worried about getting laid now? I love when people come in. The first thing they do is make an insult, and then I say something back, and they're like, oh, calm down. Really wound up today. Same people that are working in checkouts that are online shopper stores. The conversation, though, Eric, is that the AI in video games is that they're starting to use the things to literally create the code, literally create the voiceovers, literally create all the stuff, and less people have jobs. In context, I was talking about in person. there's things that are happening that there's less people with jobs because of AI. And now it's not a robot sitting in front of you, but it's a cash register they put there that there's no one behind it anymore. And then we have to actually do it ourselves. Married with kids, no privacy. I hear you there. I hear you there. When you have to go to the restroom, pretend you're going to the bathroom just to get 10 minutes. There goes Square. I mean, you guys might like going to the store and doing all the work yourself, right? Go to a restaurant, right? You might as well just go to a buffet, right? You might as well just go to the buffet where you just pay the $30 and then you walk up and you just start shoveling your own food in your plate and go sit down, then bust your own table and do all this stuff. It's like, why even go out to eat anymore? Right, Water. It's like that. Someone says it's not a big deal. Overreaction. And then they're like, hey, why are you unemployed? Just, fucking corporate, put a new register in. Customers are doing their own stuff. It's not a big deal, right? Come on, Jojo. Did I already say that? I'm old. I have amnesia. Going to the store with the kids. I don't feel like doing self-checkout. What's the best? Come here. Can you get off that? Can you do this? Can you hand me that? Hand me that. Just hand me that. Hand me that. No. Running around the cart, doing the thing, just like holding one, trying to scan. Oh, sure, Dolphin. Of course, it's if you go to Aldi now, there's self-checkout. If you go to Walmart, there's 23 checkouts, and all the regular checkouts are not even there anymore. You know what I mean? Like they're there, but no one ever employed there, right? There's like one person overlooking 20 people at self-checkout. Come on, Travis. Appreciate it. So do you really think that, let's get back on track here with video games. Do you really think that the video game companies are doing AI technology to really benefit us, the customers? I mean, if you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. Because the customers won't know anything that's happening on the back end, right? Just make the product, sell the product, give us the product, right? Here's my money, give me product. I don't care what they're doing behind the scenes to make that product, as long as you just give me the product for the money I paid for. I mean, do we need to go back to full service gas stations because of consumers or customers is doing work pumping their own gas? I mean, there are still full service gas stations, Eric, in the world. But no. But at the same time, so you're okay going to a restaurant and cooking your own food? Right? You're okay going to certain places? So you would be okay if you brought your car into a maintenance shop and then the guy just handed you the wrenches and said, go ahead and fix it, and then give them the $150 to do it? You'd be okay with that? Because your example here with gas station, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Problem with that amount of theft is much higher, and they also be paid for by people to be the cashiers. Well, they also have the have you seen these places now where you literally walk in with your app, you walk in, you just grab it, and as it crosses the plane of the stand or crosses into the actual shopping cart or buggy, then it automatically charges you, right? It puts it in your cart. And then when you walk out the door, it does the final sale. Over here, unmanned gas stations are cheaper. Well, until they're not, right? Got to get that special bottle of water. That's right. That's right, Ford. We got the best glacier water in the world. Like if I want to go hunting, I'll grab my gun, go out the back door, and go hunt. But if I want to go hunt and then go to someone else's and pay them money and then go hunt, like that's not what it is. Like if I want to go hunt, I'll go hunt. I'm not gonna go pay someone so I can hunt. Just leave your cart by the car. Give the employees something to do. Maybe drop a jar of tomato sauce. You're like, here's $5. You're like, clean up aisle 3. And then all of a sudden, Dolphin, a little vacuum comes over. Unmanned vacuum goes, and just cleans it and says, pardon me, sir. And then just keeps continuing on. And you're like, son of a bitch. If we pay the same, use the self-checkout, no discount, they'll give us more. But that's what I'm talking about, right? If I'm paying for a gallon of milk and it's three something or something, right? But if I have an employee scan it for me, if I'm scanning it myself, I'm not getting a discount. Okay, people complain on waiting in long lines and checkout. Now people are complaining that they're quickly with self-checkout. People like to complain. That's not the conversation. No one's complaining about. Who said I'm complaining about being in long lines? We're talking about AI and how people are losing their jobs. And you're bringing up people complaining about long lines. What the fuck are we talking about? I believe in Amazon. I believe it's Amazon that has the test stores like that. Yeah, no, it's Amazon. Yeah, they have Amazon. I forget what they're called. Isn't that funny, though, Ford? Amazon, that started their whole business online, is now starting to make brick and mortar stores. Dude says, I wish more people had Eric's attitude. You can pay me to work anytime, Eric. It's been cheaper as long as I can remember. I don't believe that ever had the gas station where someone would put in the gas for you. I went to New York recently, and one of the small towns we went in, they don't even let you out of the car, and the prices are just the same. They don't want you out of the car because they don't want. They'll get everything for you, and you can tip if you want to, right? But the person gets paid, and he just take your car, he puts it in the machine, right? And then gasses it for you. Let's get this buggy back on track. If people want to complain about long lines, then complain about all the idiots who have 2 times take 15 minutes to check out for some reason. They've never been to a store before. They stare at the thing and they go, barcode on this. I'll tell you what, the barcode's never on the top. It sucks that the AI is replacing people, but it's not only in games. There's also a lot of jobs that are dealing with this issue and have been for a long time. I know, Jojo, and that's what we're saying. But apparently, Eric would like to bring up that I'm a complainer of long lines and that I have too many items in my buggy, which makes no fucking sense because we're not even talking about long lines and me complaining about long lines. We're talking about how AI is taking over in video games and how AI is taking over in practical, everyday aspects. If you think AI is going to be lower the price of gaming, it should, but you know it won't. Oh, absolutely. Right? And this is what I'm talking about. What Square Enix is saying, well, they're pushing this towards, they're doing more AI, so it would be more convenient for consumers. And it's like, what's more convenient, right? Everything's digital right now. And did the prices drop for gaming? No. right? Games didn't go down in price because they stopped making the plastic boxes with the instruction manuals and shipping it in a truck, shipping it to GameStop, Walmart, and Target, right? It's the same freaking prices, and now you just download it. So instead of putting that towards into the products, they're like, oh, it's more convenient. So it's a convenience charge, right? It's a convenience charge. So the prices of the game are the exact same because it's convenient for the consumers. So we'll take that mentality and put it into the grocery store, right? You're charging the exact same price because it's convenient for you to get through the line faster so you don't have to wait in line. Right, Jojo, and that's what we're saying, right? The digital is to make them more profit. The AI is also to make them more profit. They're trying right now. Companies are trying in every way, shape, form, and possible way to try to figure out how to cut costs, right? This is not shitting on Spider-Man. Let me preemphasize that, right? Just because they came out and said it was $315 million to make Spider-Man 2, okay? The company looks at that and says, how do we get this down? How do we make this? Because going forward, we had an article that we read like 7-8 months ago talking about one of the big developers in the business was talking about how AAA games are going to hit a wall because the prices are rising up so high. So how does AAA try to cut costs? Well, if they cut people, there's less people working and less production happens. And if less production happens, then it can't be as good of a game. It would take longer to make, which then, sure, maybe you cut $100,000 out for one person that you're not hiring for that year, but now it takes 6 months longer for the people that are there. So they're like, how do we save money and how do we make more profit? So they're trying to figure out these AI programs. They're trying to use this AI, and they might be testing it for certain things in development or publishing or whatnot. But they're literally trying to figure out how these AIs, where I can just write code. There's people, you can go on Twitter, you can go on forums. There's people that are programming, and they're like, just testing it out. They're like, I asked this AI to write code to make a web page for me, and this is what it did, and this is how it made it within seconds. Companies are trying to figure out how to make AI do all the work so they can just get rid of, right, 80% of their workforce, so they can have the 20% just stand there and go, make sure that the AI is doing good to cover the work, right? As more of a proofreader than an actual developer. Less money to spend for companies, less overhead. We'll still pay for the cost. I'll give you a herd. In a few years, games will be an average of $100. That's what they're saying. And then they bring out articles saying that they've already should be $100, right? And then we had the story where we almost paid $100 back in the 1980s for certain games. It's crazy how the budgets got so big, but it's not that noticeable compared to 5 years ago. I mean, the cost of video games has gone up. I mean, Grand Theft Auto, I just read an article. Grand Theft Auto 5 cost 140 or 150 mil, and then with marketing, it cost 200 mil. Okay? And that was 10 years ago, right? And that's the game that's the outlier that puts in way more budget because that was the most expensive game at the time. And now it's, again, going to be the most expensive game at this time, which is Grand Theft Auto 6 when it comes out. But they say it's going to be almost $1 billion, which is insane. Right, Water? Right? I'll buy a $500 potato with a giant X on it. I think I'll buy a $100 AAA game. I will buy a $500 potato with a giant X on it. I think I'll buy a $100 AAA game. So you're saying you're okay with a $100 video game, D-Money? Budgets got so big because everybody got financial advice from Bungie. Yeah. Question: Microsoft does this by selling the production workers. They will be more satisfied doing something more valuable or interesting. All right, let me do that. By telling the production workers, they will be more satisfied doing something or more valuable or interesting. Is it your question? Or are you telling me? It says question. Microsoft does this by telling the production workers that they will be more satisfied doing something more valuable or interesting. I'm saying that this is stupid enough that they would do it. Oh, for sure, there's going to be people, and I talked about this like 2 days ago. I said that there'll be less people buying video games, but they would still make the same amount of money, right? So let's say there's 100 people that buy a game now at $70, okay? But then they lose 50% of that, right? So now there's only 50 people buying the game, but they're buying it at $100, right? So, and then they might make microtransactions or whatever. So there's 50% people less buying the game, but those people are paying, additional $30 each more. And that's what they look at, and they try to figure out what percentage can they raise something that they know they're going to lose the amount of people percentage-wise, but they'll make that up by the cost of them making it more expensive. But the difference between Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto 6 is huge, but between Spider-Man 1 and 2, not so much. Well, Spider-Man 1, we don't know what the cost was, right? Do we know the cost of what Spider-Man was? Let me see. Spider-Man 2018 budget. $90 million. Oh no, that's the TV show. That's the TV show. Or the Miles Morales Into the Spider-Verse is $90 million. I need Marvel Spider-Man, sorry. Yeah, for Marvel Spider-Man 2018 budget, it says the most eye-popping reveal here is Marvel Spider-Man 2 cost $300 million. We don't know what the cost of Spider-Man 1 cost in 2018. We don't know what the budget is. There's a rumor here. It says Spider-Man 2018 had a budget of $90 million, but that's not true. That's the $90 million was for the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie in 2018. Spider-Man 2. Yeah, I can't find anything. So you don't know if in 2018 the budget could have been like 200 million, 250 million. I think it's interesting that Lono has been saying for so long that Microsoft gaming model is not sustainable and Sony is fine. I wonder what he thinks now. I mean, the sustainability for Xbox, right? If you look at the production value of what Sony's doing, right? They're doing much higher end games. We don't know what Microsoft is spending, but we also know that the amount of money that they're spending on these games to put day and date, like for instance, the leaked document of $250 million for Suicide Squad, I would assume that Suicide Squad probably cost about that, and they would pay basically all their production costs right up front just to get the game. I don't know if it's coming up or not, but just that leaked document when the court case, when they talk about Suicide Squad, was $250 million. I'm assuming that Suicide Squad probably cost that much to make, right? And they would make that money back because you're not just coming back on the Xbox platform for that one game. You're coming on that platform for Game Pass, and there's other games there. So then you look at the first-party titles that they have in the chamber, that like Redfall, which was not really a first-party title, but it became a first-party title because they bought the company afterwards. Same with Starfield. So now when Bethesda makes a game, their first-party titles, we'll see what the budgets are for those. I would like to know the budgets of their first-party games, how high they are compared to what they think they're going to get back. And I think that when Phil Spencer talks about their internal pass, if they make what their grade is of the game, what's the difference in budget for a mid-80s game compared to a high 90s to mid-90s game? And I'm not talking about the year. I'm talking about the score that they get on Metacritic, right? What's the difference production cost-wise, right? Like Spider-Man's a $300 million game, okay? $300 million game. So what is, based on Metacritic, because that's what they get their bonuses and stuff on, right? Let me go to... Right, and I'm being very, very, it's a 90, right? So what's the cost of a Spider-Man 2? This scored a 90, and it cost them $300 million, $315 million, compared to, like, Lego Superhero 2 that scored a 73, or a Marvel's Capcom that scored an 82. Like, how much money difference is it from an 85, 87 to a 90? You know what I'm saying? So is Microsoft's plan to make games that are in the mid-80s at the cost of, let's say, 150 to 200 million, is that better than spending $300 million to get a 90 and return on investment? Bungie is also known for voodoo economy. He says it will be better cause because it was also wanted to be better position. I could be wrong, but isn't the gaming industry as physical gamers playing growing substantially by the year? You're saying that there's more people playing video games now than ever before, D-Money, but at the same time, the amount of people that are playing video games are also people that are playing free-to-play games. There's also more games out there, so there's less people playing like games. Like back in the day, there was less games and more people played those games. So you would have millions and millions of people playing a game. Sure, there's outliers like Fortnite, people, like millions of people playing the game, but every other game is being, funneled out, and you have small little groups, right? And they make money based on, whatever their budget is and what they're bringing in. You made a comment on YouTube just earlier saying that you love me, but Fallout 76 is a dead game, right? No one's playing it. And I laughed and I said, you're silly, because why would they keep pumping money into it and put new maps in and new expansions or new story content if no one was playing it? Right? You look at like Steam charts around, we don't know the numbers. The only person that knows the numbers to the games that people are busy, that know where they are the people that are making the games. I bought Mortal Kombat 2 for $80 back in the day on the Super NES because I was a 16 megabyte cartridge. Megabits, yeah. Yeah, I paid $100 for the gold cartridge on the N64 for Zelda, right? We talked about Yar's Revenge on the Atari 2600 back in like 1984, 85. Paid $75 for it. You mean the chicken and the giant board with the financial numbers painting on it got involved? What is Suicide Squad Day One? I mean, it might be, but they haven't said anything about it. Water. The only reason that we knew about it, I mean, Baldur's Gate didn't come to Game Pass, and it was on that document as well. It was on that document as well. Fallout 76 is not dead. Oh, I know that, El. I know that. I think the bloody chicken head might help. So I don't know if Suicide Squad's coming day one. They haven't said it, and we're literally 30 days, less than 30 days. We're like 27 days away from it launching, and they haven't said anything. So I don't think it's coming to Suicide Squad day and date on day one, Water. But if they did, we saw the document saying that they wanted $250 million for that day and date. And think about that, right? That helps the game tremendously, because if it's $250 million, that's like 6 million, or I'm sorry, that's like 3.5 million copies, right? If it's 250 million divided by 70, yeah, it's 3.5 million copies sold. Just if they pay them that 250 million, right? And it'll probably sell on its own an additional 3 million, right? So total, it makes 6.5 million copies sold. Yes, it only sold 3 million copies, but it also got paid money up front to cover another 3.5 million copies. Extremely worried about Suicide Squad. Why are you worried? What are you looking to get out of Suicide Squad's D-Money? Are you looking to have the next live service game that you never play any other game? Or are you just playing it for the single player aspect? Well, that game was already being made, Water. It's that first person shooter, like old school. We showed it on stream like last year. The black and white, cartoony, looks like the 50 cartoon. I saw the trailer for Suicide Squad. I'm sold. I said it last year. I just watched for some reason, I like to apologize. My stream today, or my channel today, an episode of GXG posted as an upload from March of last year, and I didn't do it. And it was up for like 4 hours. I took it down because I was like, why is that posted? But in that video, I talked about Suicide Squads because it got delayed. We talked about it back in March getting delayed. And I said that I'm excited for Rocksteady for story, right? I'm excited for the story. I'm not excited for the live service game. This is a horror game called Steamboat Willie in it. Oh, okay. The Suicide Squad story will be amazing. It's Rocksteady. Now, the games of service aspect is probably what he's worried about. Worried about the continual support. I see Gotham Knights happening all over again. I want to be proven wrong. Yeah, but Gotham Knights wasn't a live service game. Right? Gotham Knights wasn't a live service game. And I said about Gotham Knights, I said if they want to support it, they could put more villains and stuff in it. I said this before it even came out. I have a crap ton of videos talking about that. Right? But it wasn't a live service game. Yeah, we'll be playing it on January 30th when it comes out for Suicide Squad. All right, so we're done with the Square Enix. We're done with the grocery store talking of how I hate long lines and stuff. So we're going to move on to the next topic. All right, this next story is kind of weird. It's kind of weird. People are making fun of it across the board, and I mean, whatever. Okay. This next story, kind of weird. Because the first thing that comes to my mind is, why don't you just take the headset off? That's the first thing that came to my mind. Right? So, police investigate virtual assault after a girl attacked in metaverse. Okay? That's what we'll be talking about in the next topic. If you guys like what we do here, make sure you hit that like button down below, hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do streams Monday through Thursday in the morning from 10 o'clock a.m. to about noon to 1, Monday through Thursday. We also do gameplay Monday through Wednesday nights from 8 p.m. to about midnight. We also do uploads, and then we also do a podcast on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. called Generation X Gaming. So, all right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the police investigating virtual ape, because the YouTube algorithm doesn't like what we say, after girl attacked in metaverse. Now, British police investigated what are being called a virtual assault after a 16-year-old girl was attacked by several men in a virtual reality space. Now, the 16-year-old victim wasn't physically harmed and attacked, which took place in VR, but it reportedly mentally shaken after experiencing the incident. Now, the child was wearing a headset during the confrontation, during which the avatar was attacked by several men in virtual room, as per reports from the Standard. I have a question here. Okay. How do we know they were men? Do we ask them? Or was there virtual reality person a men? Just wondering, right? Just wondering. Okay. I don't want to assume anyone's some things here. While she wasn't physically injured, police say that the victim experienced trauma similar to what people would have in sexual assault. Okay. Now, virtual assault investigated by police after 16-year-old attacked in VR. The child experienced psychological trauma similar to what that of someone has been physical assaulted. Now, a senior officer, and I'm saying assaulted instead of the R word, said, because again, YouTube, statement in the Daily Mail. Okay. It says, quote, there's an emotional and psychological impact on the victim that is no longer term of any physical injuries and poses a number of challenges for law enforcement, given a current legislation is not set up for this. Okay. It says, while most details about the case being kept under wraps to protect the underage victim, there's marks the very first time a virtual sexual offense is being investigated by the UK police. A spokesperson from the Meta gave a statement about the situation, saying that to the Mail, this kind of behavior describes has no place on the platform, which is why all other users will have an automatic protection called personal boundaries, which keeps people you don't know a few feet away from you. Where was this in my Call of Duty lobby? Okay, or SOCOM. Okay, Ian Critchley, a National Police Chief Council Child Protection Abuse Investigation gave a warning about the metaverse to the Mail, saying it creates a gateway for predators to commit horrific crimes against children. He added, such of our policy approaches must continuously evolve, enable into relentless purpose predators, and safeguard victims across all online spaces. Now, here's my thoughts on this, right? Obviously, there's a thing of psychological trauma, okay? But let me show you how easy it is to get out of the situation that you're in, okay? Let me give you a scenario here. All right, hold on. I'm being attacked. I don't like what's going on here. That's it. That's it. Psychological trauma can happen with anything. Literally with anything. Okay? Right? Someone could flick you off. Someone could show you a picture. Someone could show you, you could see something happen, right? If we're talking about psychological trauma, okay, then what we need to talk about is scrolling through Twitter or Instagram, and all of a sudden I see something I don't want to see. That's also psychological trauma, and I don't see any kind of investigation or anything going on there. Now, as far as what did they do inside there, she said she got attacked. We don't know, right? So, obviously, I'm not saying anything from she didn't get attacked or trauma, but like I don't understand what's happening. First of all, this goes much deeper, right? A 16-year-old, right? We're okay with children making decisions about something, but a 16-year-old can't figure out how to take a headset off while she's getting assaulted in the meta. Okay? I'm very confused by this. Okay? Now, let's go back to the parents. Okay? My son plays VR. He's not allowed to play certain games because he's 9 years old, and he's not allowed to play certain things. And if he is playing certain things, I'm usually supervising what he's playing. Okay? He's not allowed to talk to anybody online because I know, as an adult, okay, that there's assholes out there that like to do stupid shit. Okay? So it boggles my mind yet again, and I'm assuming because she's 16, she's pretty smart, right? She's making her own choices. Maybe she bought her own headset. Maybe the parents bought it for her, and they're like, hey, you know what? She's 16. She's almost an adult. She can take care of herself. And then something like this happens. The fact that the police are looking into this, and they have to, like, there's actual crimes going on in the real world, and yet they don't respond to those things. But yet there's an investigation going on for a virtual assault inside the meta. Man, the future looks bright, right? These are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. If you like what we do here, make sure you check out some of our other videos on this channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. All right, chat. What do you think about this story? Okay, what do you think about this story? I'm not trying to make light of it. But it's just like this is a non-story, in my opinion. D-Money says there's no law against rape in video games. That's simple, pass something or move on, people. Right. And when you did it, okay, let's see. Waste the taxpayers' money. Sarge says this is a joke. Water puts us, face on forehead. Wasn't physically harmed. Yeah, no shit. Yeah. Come on, Kyla. Either way, it's weird as hell. All she had to do was take the headset off. That's what I'm saying, Water. Yeah, I've been attacked by little kids on. Yeah, I got it the other day. I had the wrong skin on in Fortnite, and when I went into a Fortnite, I had a group of people come around me and start hitting me with pitchforks. What am I supposed to do? I'm scarred. Nope, 30. You took too long to take it off. Maybe I liked what was going on, Water. I was just wanted to see if I wanted to stay in. The dude says I'm too old for this. This is 100% retarded. And we all know you never go full retard. That's correct, Reese. After hearing this, just bring on the AI apocalypse. I'd rather fight Skynet. I'm going to be honest. It's really funny thinking about 4 virtual guys just jumping on a girl. There's no difference than in a lobby where people are teabagging you, D-Money. You see what I'm saying? Water says, I grew up playing SOCOM Navy SEALs. My balls dropped because of online veteran playing that game. Trauma. Supervision, you beast of a parent. That's right. Parenting. What's that in 2024? I'm not touching this one with a 10-foot pole. I'm too old for this. Probably smart, dude. Probably smart. The trauma may be real. All she had to do was take the headset off. If she's too busy inside the game screaming or hollering or removing the headset. And that's what we don't know, right? And that's exactly right. If I don't like something, take off the headset. If I don't like something, I hit the off button. If I'm offended by something, I walk away. Right? There's so many things, right? The only way she could get physical trauma is if she didn't take the headset off and ran to a chair when she was trying to get away from it. I mean, I don't know. Now, again, I've seen people die on Twitter by just scrolling through my regular feed. I'm like scrolling through my feed of Twitter, and then I watch a man die or executed, right? That's more traumatic than going into the meta and getting virtually assaulted. You report them and make money off the assault. Sue them. Or use them. Or sue. I think seriously we're the last of the same generation. Definition of playing victim, I'm dead. Maybe this means that some people should just not be playing video games online in general. Perhaps. Perhaps. You know? Again, I don't want to make light of it because trauma is trauma. And trauma happens for different people. Like, you might be afraid of going, right? I got thrown in a pool when I was younger and I didn't want to swim, right? Other people get put on a roller coaster and then they're afraid of heights, right? Those are trauma situations, right? But it's literally a video game. There's so many ways to get out of it. You can walk away from the television set. You can take the headset off. You can power it down. You can do, right? There's so many things. Like, how long were you waiting for? And the fact that the police are investigating this, are we now going to hire virtual police officers? Like, people are just going to be sitting in the precinct with VR headsets on, patrolling the meta? No, they got to be police officers. They can't be moderators. They have no power. let me get this straight, right? I can play online in Grand Theft Auto 5 where people are shooting me with guns, teabagging me, hitting me with vehicles, stealing my car, and no complaints. You put a headset on to get into the meta, or people, virtual characters, I guess, are doing this. Okay? There's so many jokes there. But we'll see. And there's a problem. Can't wait for that gem of a movie to come out. As a woman, I can agree with this as much about nothing. And yes, if she had to do was take off the headset off and go outside and take a breath. Alien, again, I can make 1,000 things of anyone can get assaulted visually, right? And it could affect you mentally. And I 100% that. But I'm a little confused why this is. It is a news story. We do news stories on here. We read the news and just give you my opinion. I'm just very tossed by this one. I just don't understand how this is an actual news story. And that police officers, it did take place in the UK, or did it? Because it's in the metaverse, right? So it took place in the UK. Maybe the person was waiting in line at the grocery store because the line was too long, and while they were in the meta, and it happened. D-Money says, as a man who identifies as a woman solely for this conversation, I agree and concur. I just want to know, were the people actually guys in the world? Did she assume their gender while she was in the metaverse? Because if I can just be the person I am inside the metaverse without all that stuff, maybe that's where I want to live. What's virtual rape? Standing next to someone teabagging. Is there thrusting animation? You imagine they are? They are. Explain it to me.
Hello, what have we?
I don't know. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate the sub. The fact that the police are using precision resources in case instead of dealing with some actual real life crimes is laughable. Yeah, it's beyond laughable. This is about the next South Park special. Oh, this would be a good South Park episode. This would 100% be a South Park episode. God, now I'm hoping. Now I'm hoping that this becomes a South Park episode. Because they can say stuff and they won't get canceled. I mean, I don't care about if I get canceled anyway either, but it's like, how do you cancel someone that doesn't have anything? Can I claim emotional damage for all the years of getting teabagged in Halo and Call of Duty? I think you have a lawsuit. I think you have a case, Ford. I think we all have cases. Now that I think about it, maybe this is why I'm the way I am, because of the SOCOM lobbies. We might have made some leeway here today. I really do. I feel a lot better knowing that where my problems come from is because it came from the Call of Duty and Battlefield and SOCOM and Halo and GoldenEye and, man, so many places. Going back all this time, I was assaulted a lot. Call up Sony and tell them that we're coming for them. Yeah, the virtual, that's it. Mark Zuckerberg's whole company that he switched to Meta is down the drain. Because the Meta is where you get assaulted. That's what they're going to run with. That's it. Yes, VRs are going down the drain. This could have all been made up by Xbox. Let's get that rolling. The people that didn't like Starfield being talked shit about. So then they made this story up. She needs better meta skills. Where's the power fantasy? Pull out your gun or broadsword. That's it. Why didn't she slice them to pieces with her virtual sword? D Money says, imagine one of those serious commercials with the girl saying, "It happened to you too." A single frame shot. I'm sorry. I guess, you know, it's like, until it happens to you, you don't understand. It has happened to me, though. Like, I literally had little kids that could have been full-grown adults. I don't know. Their avatars were middle-aged. Middle-aged teenagers. And they all were just hitting me with their pickaxes. What do I do? That situation, what do I do? Oh, I know. I don't care. The loyal commercial for this would be great. Were you a victim in a grape? I got you. Were you a victim in an assault in VR? Have you ever been teabagged in PvP? Call the law offices of Dingus, and Dingus. yeah. This is the commercial. Have you been a victim? It's like in Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters commercials. Are you a victim? Have you seen ghosts? D-May says, I won't lie. I got repeatedly bagged in Halo by a good player one time. Checked my controller, triggered my instinct, but I'm scared and suing. Well, there you go. I'm behind you. I support you. I support you, D-Money. Gotta be a real thing, bro. One of the partners is named Bingus Dingus. In the law office of Bingus and Dingus. Howard Fine and Howard. If they did a South Park episode, old guys like me might understand the horrific situation. Do it as a public service announcement or a service for America. Soon as I'm telling you, soon as someone in a racing car game bumps me and then takes the lead, that's a hit and run. A hit and run. I'm gonna sue them. I want their insurance. Okay, I want their insurance. If I'm playing Grand Theft Auto and a guy carjacks me, I want at least 3 years. 3 years. Okay. My insurance rate's going to go up because my car got stolen, then he wrecked it. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Right? Guy shot me. Okay. Obviously, he didn't have the lock on the gun, and he shot me in Call of Duty. I'm going to press charges. Where does it end? Where does it go? What are we doing? What are we talking about? What other situations? What other situations are there? It is what it is. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. My son came in while I was doing my little speech earlier, so I want to see what he needed. If you shoot a dog, you go to jail for animal cruelty. Well, there are people that get like that when you shoot. Like every time you do something like that in Division 2, like, oh, how dare you? Like if I couldn't do it, they wouldn't let me. You know what I mean? Did you guys hear this? I was watching a video the other day. What's the guy's name? Demion? Is that his name? Demion? Did you guys hear about I don't really watch his stuff, but I came across his channel, came across my feed, so I started watching some of the stuff. And some of the takes he has and some of the news stories he covers, I started laughing because there was people. See, I didn't know Baldur's Gate did this, right? Baldur's Gate 3, there's the Nexus mods, right? The Nexus mods, and there was a story where one of the person changed the sexuality of one of the characters, right? It was supposed to be this, and the mod changed it from a female to a dude, or changed the black guy to a white guy. And they came out and said that any mods that are not inclusivity or that show any kind of racism against it, they took it down, right? And I'm like, okay. And then in the story, they talked about how there's mods on the channel, okay, for the Nexus mods, that you could just murder children, bloody murder children, and they're okay with that. But if you race swap somebody, you've crossed the line. And I was like, how does that work? So Nexus mods puts a foot down if you change a white guy to a black guy, or black guy to a white guy, or a woman to a man, or man to a woman, okay, because they took someone out of the game that mod didn't want to have in the game, right? Each their own. I mean, he made the mod. And they banned that mod from the thing, but the mod that you can murder children is there still. And I was like, it's a bold stance to have. I thought that was interesting. A clip says, man, I played Gears of War anytime you got down. In the game, they would also, like, 2 people face humping you. Yep. What would you do if it happened to your son, 30? For real. If he was crying and upset, just to make the conversation a little serious. All right, this is what I would do. Because I'm a parent, D-Money, my son already knows about certain things about the video game. So not to be like, well, it wouldn't happen to my son. Okay? I've educated my son enough to know if certain people, right? He's not even allowed to play online. Now, if my son is 16 years old, by that time, I would hope he would know that what happens in a video game space is not real life. You know what I mean? So, if it did happen to him, I'm a Gen Xer. I would look at him and go, well, so what's the problem? He'd be like, well, there's people that were assaulting me. I would have been like, why don't you take the headset off? And then he would look at me and go, I don't know. I'll be like, all right, well, there you go. Now you know. And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. And I would do that just like that in real life. D-Money says there's no law against killing children online. No, there isn't. And there's also no law to have a mod that changed white from black, or black to white, or male to female, female to male. They just used the voice of the old grandpa dude from Family Guy on them. You're talking about the guy. Hey there, little kids. You're talking about that guy with the high pitched, the old guy with the high pitched voice. D-Money says, I agree. When you react to make something real, it amplifies the experience for the other person. Yeah, so when my kid was a baby and he did something, you know, there's parents, there's 2 types of parents when you have a baby, right? There's the parent where if the kid hits his head against the table, okay, there's that, oh, are you okay? Oh, and then they take the thing. And then there's the parent that when the baby hits the table, you go, what'd you do to my table? And they don't cry. They're not crying, right? Because if you notice, the kid, when they're young, you enforce what that is. They don't know they're hurt. They feel something. They might be hurt, but they don't know they're hurt because they haven't experienced that. Once they experience that, they associate, okay? They associate the pain with, if I do this, I'm going to get mom and dad to come over to me. They're going to pick me up and they're going to coddle me and they're going to be like, whatever. If you get hit and you don't say anything, you're like, did you break my table? What'd you do to my table? Right? They look at you and they go, oh, no. And they like that, and they get up and they don't react because there's nothing to react to. Now, obviously, if the kid's bleeding or something, that's a different story. But if you don't react to something, then that is not the reaction they're going to have. They're going to be like, oh, nothing happened. Nothing happened to me. And when it happens again and again, nothing happened to me. I'm okay. That might sound like super, like, I don't know, morbid or whatever. I'm just like, if my kid's not actually hurt, then why would I pick him up? Oh, my poor baby. It's like nothing happened. Nothing happened. I get looks, right? My wife will be like, come on, what are you doing? And I'll be like, is he? Because now my kid's 9 years old. And when he does something and he gets hurt, he looks at me, he does the Peter Griffin. He does the Peter Griffin. He doesn't even know he's doing the Peter Griffin, but he does the Peter Griffin. He's like, right? And that's it. I went from the first type of parent to the second type of parent after a few years. Did you have one kid or two kids, Demir? You have one kid or two? I only have one. Right? The first kid that comes out is like, it's like a bubble around, okay? The second kid comes out and you like throw him into spikes because you're just like, I don't care. If you have more than two, right? That third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh kid, forget about it. They don't even care about the seventh kid. The older kids are watching the younger kid at that point. Trust me, I know. We have cousins. Okay, my wife has cousins that has 6 children. The last kid, nobody ever watches. I watch it. I'm looking at him going, does anybody care about this? Does anybody care about this kid? He's like hanging upside down. He's got a machete in his hand, and he's hanging from a tree, swinging from like a monkey. They're like, hey, he's fine. I'm like, all right, cool. Yep. You have 2? Yeah. It's so true. When I was like little, I was taking any type of possibility, not caring about it. As soon as someone acknowledged that I said, are you hurt? I would start tearing up. Yeah. Now, obviously, it's situational, right? Like, obviously, if I run into a wall and I got something through my head, I'm not going, what did you do to my wall? Oh, you got a spike in your head. How do you think that spike feels? Let me pull that out. Like that's not happening. But you know what I'm saying? Like little bruises in here and there. I'm not gonna. Oh, that's not happening. D-Money says, first one on the way. In May, I'm going to teach her the dangers of the metaverse. That's right. When she's a little kid, you put the headset on, you just teach her. You're like, you put this headset on. She's not even going to have a headset, D-Money, to be honest with you. By the time she's old enough to play video games in the VR, they'll have like contact lenses or something. I agree. My oldest brother of 4 kids, the big... yeah. You know, each their own. Hey, you parents be parents. You do what you want. I won't tell you how to raise your children. You don't tell me how to raise my children, and we're all good. Just know if my kid plays with your kid, my kid's not going to complain. My nephew and my son, they argue. I say, figure it out. Figure it out. He took this from me. Figure it out. Right? I'm not interrupting that. That is core mechanics that you need to have as a kid, right? You can't go to the next person and be like, Tommy took it from me, Mom. No, figure it out. If it's grab it back from him, talk it out, do whatever. Figure it out. Little dogs and puppies and kittens, they bite each other and they figure it out. They're like, ow, that fucking hurt. And they bite it. They're like, hey, don't do that. And they don't do it anymore. Figure it out. When there's an actual emergency and a post-apocalyptic thing comes and I have to protect my child, I'm there. Right? I'm not going to be like, well, you got to figure it out, little kid. Guy's got a gun to you. What are you going to do? Got to figure it out. I'm not going to do that. Right? There's different situations and different scenarios. Speaking of figuring things out, get another article here. I wish Disney would figure out what they're doing, right? So we read an article a couple weeks ago, right? We read an article a couple weeks ago that said there was an Ubisoft game that was delayed and we didn't know which one it was. And I said, I hope it wasn't Star Wars Outlaws. Okay. Well, then it was Star Wars Outlaws and they had to try to figure it out. Well, then yesterday or 2 days ago, they said that the call came out and said that Disney was going to release it in late 2024. And now they're coming back and saying something different. So that's what we're going to go over to right now. If you like what we do here, make sure you hit that like button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. And then we also have uploads. We play video games. And we also have a podcast on Thursday nights. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're talking about Ubisoft corrects Star Wars Outlaws releasing in late 2024, back to general 2024. Okay. Update. Earlier today, a Disney Parks blog pointed to Star Wars Outlaws releasing in late 2024, but the term late has now been removed from the post so that it now reads just 2024. Ubisoft also confirmed to Kotaku that the timing was incorrect and it has since been amended. And then Star Wars Outlaws release window has moved from late 2024 back to some general time this year. Now, the original story, Star Wars Outlaws Ubisoft upcoming Star Wars game, has enjoyed a vague 2024 release window since it was revealed in Xbox Showcase last year. Now, however, a recent post of the Disney official park blog has given the game more specific window. According to the blog, Star Wars Outlaws is releasing late 2024, and the blog post, which is a collection of 24 exciting Disney things happening in 2024, reads, and for Star Wars fans, Star Wars Outlaws is the open-world Star Wars game and set to release in late this year. Star Wars Outlaws follows an original Star Wars character named K-Vess. It seeks the exploring character archetype of Star Wars universe. We haven't spent much time with it with the video game, and Han Solo-inspired scoundrel in the game, Vess, who has no Jedi abilities as far as we know, must survive by her wits and her ability to talk or blast her way through difficult situations. I mean, the last story we just talked about, if you're watching this after the fact, maybe she should have taken that advice. For more on Star Wars Outlaws, you can also read our interview with game narrative director Navid, where they cover topics like whether or not the game will have an overlap with Shadows of Empire, or the team has been communicating with Respawn regarding the Jedi series of games, and the game is planned to release on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and C. So here's two things that could happen from this, right? Two things that can happen from this. Because it was late 2024, and now it's general 2024, obviously it could come out early, okay? Or it can get pushed back to 2025. A lot of people, I think, we're going to assume that it's going to get pushed back to 2025, because when it says late 2024, people are like, oh, no, don't do late 2024, just in case something goes wrong. Then people think it's 2025. Now they're just like, it's general 2024. I don't know if this is a thing. Maybe they're waiting. Maybe they're waiting to see what Star Wars happens as far as things that are coming up. I know they have the Acolyte coming out. I know they have some other things that are coming out for Star Wars. We're not seeing a Star Wars film till 2025. So maybe they're in talks right now behind the scenes going, hey, maybe we shouldn't release this. Maybe we should wait until the movies come back out, because supposedly the Rey film starts filming in April, and then it's supposed to come out in 2025. So maybe they push this back to 2025 and release this around the same time as that. Or it's just a generic, like, well, let's see what's a good time, see what other games are coming out, and when to post it. They just don't know yet. Who knows? Look, I'm really excited about this game. I want this game to come out, but I also want this game to come out in a non-broken, buggy, unfinished state. Okay, I don't want to get the game and then not be able to play it because something broke on it, or it's just not finished, and then we have to wait 6, 8, 12 months for the thing to finish. If you're going to wait 6, 8, 12 months, then just take the game, hold it for 6, 8, 12 months, and then release it when the actual game is finished. I don't want to know when the actual date is if you're going to change it. So I'm actually okay with them saying generic 2024. I still think it might get pushed back to 2025, but these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. If you like what we do here, you might want to check out some of our other videos on this channel. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, chat. So what do you guys think? Do you think the Star Wars Outlaw game releases this year, or do you think it gets pushed back to 2025? I know what happened. Article post was written for late 2023. They changed the year only. And then when it removed late, because they were also now not sure thoughts. That's actually a pretty good thought. So you think that the article was written, the blog post was written, and when they said late 2020, but it said late 2024, right? And they changed the year only. Because I think you're insinuating that it said late 2023 and then they changed it to late 2024. Is that what you're thinking? Was written for late 23. Dad, I don't think that's right, because we knew the game was coming out in 2024. We thought it was like March because they said early. When they originally showed it in summertime, they mentioned like early 2024. Pushes to 2025 because of GTA. Well, GTA is not coming out till 2025. The dude says, my hope are that they release the game when it's finished. What are my chances of that happening? Pretty slim to none, I think. Yeah, GTA is not happening until 2025. It would make sense if it was 2024 when GTA 6 was coming out, and then they pushed it back. I can understand that. But as of right now, it's coming out in 2025. When they pushed it last year, they cut and paste all the time. Yeah, but what I'm saying though, Z, they literally said last year during the summer preview, they asked when it was coming out, and they said it's coming out early 2024 is what they said, right? But there was no date. We just thought it was before spring. Like, we thought February or March is what we thought. Maybe May, because May the 4th be with you, or whatnot. They never actually said 2023 in any way, shape, or form. So even if they cut and paste it, it went from it's not the late 2024, it was late 2024 to just 2024. I think though, the problem is, see, I don't think they even should have showed it. I don't think they should have showed it to us in the summertime like they did, right? I hate when they do this. The older I get, the less excited I get for trailers, because now I know that they show trailers, okay, to just hype up something, and it's like 18 months away, okay? Then they show a trailer like they did for Transformers Reactivate, where they're just trying to promote the game so they can get devs to come in, right? They're using it as a ploy. Same with Fable, right? I don't know when this started, probably around like 3 or 4 years ago, but now they show trailers to get people hyped up to be like, dude, I want to work on Transformers. And then they hire people because they've been in a hire state the entire time. And I just hate that, man. I feel like they should just not show anything. I liked what Hogwarts did once they delayed it, right? It was supposed to come out in 2021, then it was supposed to come out in 2022, then it was supposed to come out, or it was supposed to come out in early 2022, and then they went quiet and said it's getting pushed back to 2023. And then in November is when they started hyping it up. That's when they showed the gameplay trailer in November, December, January, and then it launched in February, and it was beautiful. Okay? Short 3-month span, boom, hype it up, and then release the game. Now they did the exact same thing with Suicide Squads. Suicide Squads was being talked about, which now I assume was to hype it up to get people to come on to the project. And then they delayed it 10 months. And now they're doing the exact same thing they did with Hogwarts Legacy WB, where they showed the first trailer in November, like the in-depth one, then in December, and then we're going to get one again in January. Okay, we're like 2 weeks away from them showing it, maybe, because they showed it on November 20th, and then they showed it on December 20th. So I'm assuming they're going to show it around like the 17th, 18th, and then it comes out 10 days later for pre-orders. I like the way they're doing the marketing of that way. Show it to us a couple months ahead of time, and then you get hyped up, and then it's here. I don't like them showing... Hell, Metroid Prime was shown like 4 years ago. Skull and Bones was shown 7 years ago. All these games that like they hype you up for stuff, and then you don't hear about it. Beyond Good and Evil 2. Where the hell's that game? It's like fishing. They put out a shiny trailer, which is the bait, and then they open up the game for the pre-orders, which is the hook. After that, they just sit back and see the fish bite. True, dude. But there's a difference between pre-ordering. I don't even think the pre-orders were open like a year and a half ahead of time, right? For some games, they're not open until like 4 months or so. I just want them to stop hyping games up. If you show us a cinematic trailer, that's the bait of, hey, we're working on this. But if you show us a gameplay trailer, which they did for Star Wars, right? We didn't hear anything about it. And then all of a sudden, bam, they came out, showed us a trailer, and they showed us a gameplay trailer. That means you're close. That means you're close. Or at least it means it should be that you're close. Right? And then they're not. They're not. See, I think it's counterproductive because then you get the thing that happened with Starfield and other games like that, right? Where it's even Cyberpunk, right? They talk about it for so long that you think it's already out or it's been coming out, and then when it comes out, you're scrutinizing it for every little bit, okay? Instead of just letting the game talk for itself, right? Hi-Fi Rush came out, and everyone was like, what is this? And they played it, and they're like, wow, this is actually a really good game, right? Hogwarts came out 3 months ahead of time and just to promote it, and it came out and it landed pretty good. Yet all these other games come out 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. They're like, yeah, this game's in works. And you're like, oh, I'm so excited about this. Like Black Wukong, right? We've seen that for 3 years now. Everyone's like super excited about that game. Better pay off. I think it will. But if it doesn't, what a letdown, right? You've been waiting and waiting and waiting. It's like, you know, you get everyone hyped up, and then you're like, look at Lies of P. Lies of P didn't show that much ahead of time until they did. And then people were like, it looks pretty good. And then it came out, it did very well. It did very well. Never going to happen, bro. We have to be smart enough to not believe the hype. I'm just saying, if you show a gameplay trailer, that means it's close. That's all I'm saying. If you don't want me to get hyped, then don't show me a gameplay trailer. If you show me a CGI trailer, I'm just like, cool. Let me know when it's coming out. Right? But when you show me a gameplay trailer, that's when I have an issue. I'm like, oh, okay. Now you show me a gameplay trailer, like, that's 2 years out. Right? If you show me a gameplay trailer, that means you've already been working on that game for at least 2 to 3 years. Quintar says completely agree, 30. I just don't want to get hyped. Like I like the game. I'm excited for the game. I want this game to be good. I said it when we first saw it. I said this is my Starfield. Right? I said this is going to be better than Starfield for me. Unless it's the day before. or whatever that trash was called. Yeah, the day before. Yeah, they hyped it up 3 years ago. This is what it's gonna be. Gameplay trailer. Yeah, sure. Where are you? They didn't show it. They didn't show it. They showed us gameplay and they never showed us gameplay again. Like showing someone a big, fat, juicy steak. You're like, come to the restaurant, you're going to get this. And then you get to the restaurant, they're like, we're out of steak. Like, what? Told me you had steak. We're just showing that steak to get chefs to come in to make that steak. Like, what? But you showed me a steak that I wanted to eat, and now I can't eat it. Right? How many games did they show, right? They showed that Star Wars 1313 game. They showed gameplay. They showed in-depth gameplay. Never saw that game. Never came out. They showed a Boba Fett game. Never came out. They showed... You see what I'm saying? Shadow drops are so much better. By the way, this is out today. Yeah. You know what the funny part was? At the Game Awards show, Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year, and they didn't tell anybody that came out on Xbox the same night. They didn't say it. They didn't say, hey, Game of the Year, and now it's on Xbox today. They didn't say that. No one said anything. All right. Let's go with this next story. Come on, Big T. That's because the sign said, wrap it up. No, but even Keeley, no one said anything. There was not even a tweet about it. You didn't even need to say it on the show. There wasn't even a tweet about it, Big T. People are like wondering, hey, when does that game come out for Xbox? Oh, it's out. Here, matter of fact, let me see something. Okay, it's on their site now. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they did any kind of tweet or anything about it when it came out. Wrap it up. All right. So this next article we're going to talk about is Monster Hunter World is soaring up the Steam charts. Now, I played the crap out of this game when it came out originally. Was it 2018? I think it was 2018. I thought the Twitter came out and said it later that night or the next day. It might have said it the next day, but still, it didn't say it. I don't think it said it the night, Tony. I might be wrong, but I know a lot of people were asking, when does it come out? And everyone looked that night and was like, oh, it's on Xbox Store. But I don't think they announced it in any way, shape, or form. Regardless, I still think it's funny that the biggest stage with 180 million people or 118 million people watching, and they didn't tell you that it was on the thing. So, all right, so Monster Hunter World is soaring up the Steam charts. In the last days, a monumental surge of popularity has driven Monster Hunter World, which was released back in 2018. Man, was that long ago? We played so much of that game. So in the top 10, didn't it come out in beginning of 2018, I believe, as well? Top 10 most played games list on Steam. It's currently beating out the likes of Call of Duty, the Finals, and Lethal Company, pushing above beyond 100,000 peak concurrent players mark with ease. Before the last few days, Monster Hunter World hadn't hit these numbers since October of 2020. Now, Monster Hunter World is running wild. Monster Hunter World is the fast becoming one of the most popular games on Steam, a whopping 6 years after it released, with a resurgence coming out of nowhere recently. Monster Hunter World was heavily discounted as part of the Steam Winter Sale, with almost 70% being knocked off the price. There you go. You can see it's just been kind of just sitting there, and then all of a sudden, boom, just shoots up. So it's assumed that the low price point combined with a sense of excitement for Monster Hunter Wilds, which is revealed at the Game Awards 2023, is driving up the popularity of the open world Capcom RPG. Now, this all begins with Capcom drew attention to the substantial discount at the start of December, encouraging players to both new and old to explore Astra in the Monster Hunter world. Now, with the Metascore racking up to 90 and generally favorable reviews across the board, it's a little wonder why Monster Hunter World is enjoying a climb back into the highest echelon on Steam. Look, I love this game. My only complaint about this game was that I was so into it that when I stopped playing it, I forget what game came out. We were playing Destiny back then as well, but I played it for like 3 months rock solid, and then I stopped. And then when I came back, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And it was a real big bummer for me. I was like, I don't want to start over, but I don't remember what I was doing. And that was the biggest downfall for me. So much so that I kind of started playing Dauntless back then. And I believe Dauntless back then was in early access or whatnot. And what I liked about Dauntless over Monster Hunter was that I could stop playing Dauntless, come back, and didn't matter what I was doing because I could just jump back into the game. That was my biggest fail for Monster Hunter for me personally. But I absolutely love this game. I never even went back and played the expansion they had. What was the winter? I forget what the winter one was called. Right, the ice DLC. I forget what it was. My brain's just completely gone. But what a great game! And here we are, 6 years later. 6 years later, and it's not like they've made this game. It's not an ongoing game. They didn't just keep. Right? It's just. The game's out. They had some DLCs, and it's been out there for 6 years, and now it's seeing a resurgence on Steam, which is awesome, right? This game broke me with other Monster Hunter games because I tried other Monster Hunter games afterwards, and I was like, I like Monster Hunter World. World to me is, I was late to the game for Monster Hunter, and then when I played this, and then I tried other Monster Hunters, they just never really sat with me. I like World the best, but that's just me, right? But it's cool seeing this. Now, I want to kind of take this in another direction, right? Why is it, I mean, this is a single-player co-op game, that a game like this, obviously it's a great game, scored 90, phenomenal, right? Lots of people like it. I really like the mentality of killing the beasts and then grabbing the resources that you need. So if you need certain resources, you go after certain monsters, and then you upgrade your gear. I love that whole concept. It gives you some sort of purpose. It gives you some sort of reason to go do the thing. Right? But this game's 6 years old, right? There's No Man's Sky comeback for this. This is a great Iceborne. Thank you, Big T. There's no story about game was broke, buggy, unfinished, and then it came back from the brink of death to become popular. This game has just been popular, and then it settled down because it's a single player game. You could play a co-op, multiplayer, whatever. And then now it's surging because it's on sale and people are playing going, wow, this is actually a really good game. So why do we look at this to other games that are single player games and go, the game's dead, no one's playing it? Obviously, this is an outlier. You're not going to get a game that gets us a resurge of certain things like this with no DLCs or anything like that. Obviously, the people are, I think, hyped because of the next Monster Hunter game that's coming out, okay, the Wilds. And they're like, well, while I'm waiting for the Wilds, let me try Monster Hunter because now it's in that price point where I would pay for it and give it a shot. And I think people are going to play this one. They're going to be ecstatic about it, and then they're going to be disappointed when they come out with the next Monster Hunter game. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe if you like what we do here. Please check out the rest of our videos on this channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. I'm playing it right now. I'm loving going back to it. Can't wait for Wild. I think if I go back to this Eclipse, I have to start over. I can't take my character that I had, and I'd just be so lost. I'll be like, what was I doing? Big T says, great game. Monster Hunter World is a great game. I have over 500 hours in it and go back and play it with my friends. World's awesome. Gear grind, but a lot of fun. The gear grind's there, but it's also very rewarding because, yes, you're grinding for the gear, but you can grind or like as fast or as slow as you want based on the gear and the animals you're going up against. I love that game. But when I stopped playing it for a bit, I forgot what I was doing and stopped caring. Right. Which is not a shot against the game, Sarge, right? It's not the game's fault. It's just that when a game like that is so in-depth and you're playing it and you're just hooked, and you go play something else. I mean, I did it with Starfield yesterday. I didn't play Starfield for 2 months, and I came back. I was like, what the hell was I doing? Right? It's one of those games that if you play Monster Hunter or any other thing, just someone said it in chat last night. I forget who it was. They said, maybe you should write it down, right? Just write it down. I think it was Gaming Fire. Said, just write down what you were doing. So when you go back to it, you'll be like, oh, and it hits. It's because it has a multiplayer aspect. And it's one of those games that you can just jump right back in. Yes and no. A lot of people played solo in that game, though, Water. I mean, don't get me wrong. I played with a bunch of friends, but a lot of people played solo with that game. I'm more excited for Dragon's Dogma 2 than Monster Hunter Wilds. Wasn't really a Monster Hunter player. So many of it has something to do with it. Yeah, there's Gaming Fire. Right, Gaming Fire? You said that last night. You said you should write it down. Right, when the game came out in 2018, I was like, why doesn't Destiny do stuff like this? I was like, why am I just running around just grabbing different weapons and whatnot? I was like, we should be doing what Monster Hunter does, where you go kill a boss and you drop some material that you can craft a weapon, right? That's what I was talking about. Back in 2018. Keep a gaming journal, and now you know. I think I have, hold on, I have it.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Dear Diary. January 3rd, 2024. Where off? I was in the metaverse, and then I got assaulted. And I played Monster Hunter. I was the biggest fan of everything of G.I. Joe. Iceborne. Thank you. A little behind. I think he's a little bit behind. But thank you for the answer. Your diary. What else we got? That's all the main stories I wanted to talk about today. Let's see if there's any sure hope I don't get sat on by a blue alien with giant... Yeah, exactly. Right? What game is that? Why? Okay. Why is it that all of a sudden there's people talking about like RoboCop and the graphics of RoboCop? Right? If the game came out, didn't it come out in like August or something like that? October? When did RoboCop Rogue City come out? Oh, it was November 2nd. All right. All right. So it's been 2 months. Been 2 months. But all of a sudden, you're like, dude, the graphics of RoboCop are just so good. It's a multi-plat, correct? I believe so. Yeah, I believe RoboCop is on PlayStation, it's on Xbox, and it's on PC. Oh, it was supposed to be on Switch, but they canceled it on the Switch. It was supposed to be, because I did a video on it. Yeah, it was supposed to be on the Switch, but then they canceled it. Did they add another expansion to Monster Hunter World? What's the DLCs for that? Let's see. Got Iceborne. That's it, right? Yeah, it's just the texture pack, high resolution texture pack, and Monster Hunter Iceborne. Monster Hunter World unit sales worldwide from 2018 to 2023 as of September of 2023. Monster Hunter World has sold 19 million units. And now they're getting another insurge, but that's not full price, though. It says Monster Hunter World Iceborne Mastered Edition of the game. The number of sales has surpassed 23.1 million global unit sales. Well, how do you have more DLC sales than the regular game sales? So it's got to be over 23 million. Well, it takes a few months before people actually start to use their brains for things. Ford says probably because it was on Digital Foundry's graphics of the year. Okay. I believe Worlds has a free season events as well. So is there microtransactions in that game, Quintar? Or they just update stuff for free events? I'm starting to get aggravated with Digital Foundry. Who makes them the end-all, be-all of quality? We do. We do, Prosy. Right? Just like anyone that watches any YouTuber, and when an abundance of people watch someone, they make them credible. You know what I mean? The credibility comes with the people that give them credibility. Right, Big T. And you know what? That's my biggest thing about gaming, right? This is why my motto is make a game, sell a game, right? If you make a game, it will sell. Because the make a game part is, if it's a good game, people will find out it's a good game. And if they find out it's a good game, then they will pay for the game. If it's not a good game, then it gets in that process of gets shit on and critiqued and whatnot. And you could critique a good game, okay? But just make a game. And once you make that game will sell. I have no problem spending money on games that have good quality. Right? So many games come out that are broke, buggy, unfinished. And then there's games that come out that are not broke, buggy, unfinished, but they get shit on because people don't like that style of game or whatnot. But they really don't give shit to the games that are broke, buggy, unfinished. They're like, well, I really like this game, but it's broke, buggy, unfinished. And they're like, yeah. And they don't fix it because they're making all the money, because us the consumers are giving them power of going, we'll take it 18 months from now. And then when a game comes out that's not, so high praised, but it's actually not broken, buggy, everyone's like, oh, it's stupid. It's like play the games that are actually good quality games. enforce people making good games like Larian Studios and Baldur's Gate 3, right? There's like a Capcom event, and there's also a Final Fantasy one, but they do have cosmetic microtransactions. Very small microtransactions, a lot of free events. Time to downvote everything, Paul and IGN and more. So gamers are the reason gaming news has become trollish. Yes. Yes. Look, I don't ever want to be in that stance that, well, Mike said something, so that's golden. That's not what it is, right? But if I was popular, if I had 1 million people, Frosty, I could benefit from that because I could be, it could open doors for me, right? Per se. And then I could get interviews with certain people. And then I would interview them, right? And then I would be a credible source because I'm interviewing people. I'm just doing an example here, right? Then I could be giving interviews and then those people become credible, right? Like if you watch Joe Rogan's just he's just a comedian. But because his platform became super popular, he becomes a credible source when he's interviewing someone talking about whatever they're talking about, right? If he's talking about a scientific guy who brings Elon Musk, the reason Elon Musk is there is because they like Joe Rogan because he's a credible guy, right? The customers make the IP, they make the brand, they make the person a credible source, right? Star Wars was popular because we, the people, made it popular, right? Star Trek was popular because we, the people, made it popular. If the people decide to make something not popular, then it's done. And that's why you make a game, you sell a game. You make a movie, you sell the movie. You make a book, you sell the book. Not everything is award-winning. Not everything is going to be the best thing ever. This is why when people come in and they're like, that's not true. I'm reading the news. Just reading the news and then giving you my opinion, right? One second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. The dude says that is not true. What's not true? You reading the news? Ford says, Prosy, well, you shouldn't be. They put out quality videos. Developers actually reach out to them to say, hey, play this and let us know what you find. And they have a relationship with the devs. Right, because they became credible because they made content. People liked watching the content. And now they're like the go-to person to come when it comes across of stuff, right? There's no difference in anything else of when Coke and Pepsi started or McDonald's, right? Why is McDonald's the #1 fast food place? Because the customers paid for food. Why did Coke become the #1 brand of soda? Because we, the customers, paid for it and made it popular. And then they got their other doors opened up for them. right? A lot of people forget where they came from also in this scenario, right? Because you're like, well, how are they the go-to, right? A lot of people forget that the reason that they're popular, the reason they have 1 million subscribers, the reason they have, the things they have, the reason that Activision is as big as it is, the reason that EA is as big as it is, the reason is Microsoft is the way it is because of the consumers, of us, right? And a lot of creators and a lot of people forget where they come from because they had nothing, and then they have something, but then they shit on the people that gave it to them, which is always mind-boggling to me. Right? They feel like there's like Marvel, right? Like Disney bought Marvel, bought Star Wars, and was just like, we're just going to put out whatever we want. It's Star Wars. It's going to be great. And we're like, no, that's not how that works. It's not how that works. Hence why the industry is in shambles of the way it is, because they have an agenda to pull instead of just make a thing, sell that thing. And just as you become credible and people like watching your shows, your content, your books, your movies, you become irrelevant just the same way. Because you stop doing good work, you start preaching, you start doing certain things, and then you fall off. Still waiting on the new Star Wars movies. They ain't coming out Titan until I think the next one comes out in 2025, which is the Rey movie, I think. Acolyte is now a TV series, I believe. Probably summer 2025, Christmas of 2025. And everyone's like, well, those other Star Wars movies did so well. They broke $1 billion and whatnot. Yeah, if they did so well, then how come they haven't made any other films since 2019? If Star Wars was so hot and big, how come they stopped making stuff? Marvel films for 15 years dominated the box office. And now it's literally one of the worst openings and worst movies in existence. So they have a top spot of the most successful film, and they have the one for the shittiest film. Congratulations, you have on both spectrums. I mean, the Marvels was so successful, they stopped reporting it. They were just so successful. They're like, you know what? We're so successful, we just got to stop reporting the sales. This amazing movie. Domestically, it didn't even break 100 million. And each week, domestically, worse and worse and worse. Christmas Day, which is the best time to watch a movie, it made $8,000. $8,000. Boy, that's bad. Made $8,000 on New Year's Day. Each theater made a total of $50. Woo! That's impressive. That's impressive. Unfortunately, I just want to push these things out as quick as possible. I have hope for Deadpool 3, though. I hope so. I hope so. But unfortunately, even if I like Deadpool 3, and Deadpool 3 as a standalone film is a good film, it leads into what their next phase is, which is X-Men and the Fantastic Four and whatever else. and I'm worried as hell for that stuff. I'm glad that Rogue Squadron movie got canceled. The X-Wing series on PC was great. I didn't want to see the iconic group get ruined for me. Yeah. The Russo brothers were so good for Marvel. Yeah, with Winter Soldier. Wait, no, they did Civil War, right? They did Civil War, and then they did the Avenger films. Right, they were afraid they would make everyone else look bad. That's why they stopped reporting on it. Yes, that's correct. Ryan Reynolds is like James Gunn. They got top tier talent that can carry somewhat. Yes and no. Well, do you see what Ryan Reynolds did, right? Ryan Reynolds, I like him. I like him. He reminds me of like a Chevy Chase type of actor, present day. But people were leaking footage left and right. Not footage, but behind the scenes photos. And he asked real nicely. He was like, "Hey, can you quit doing that? Like, whoever's doing it, we want surprises to happen. Please stop posting stuff, ruining what's on the set." So then he went out and made a bunch of fake photos of who's in the film and then put it out there because the people wouldn't stop doing it. So then he put a whole bunch of other fake ones out there. So now you don't know which one's real or which one's fake because they're so absurd. True enough, they may be called X people. Yeah, I don't even think they're going to be called X-Men. I don't think they're going to be called X-Men. And if they do call it X-Men, they're going to change it in some way, shape, or form. I used to be excited for them to do X-Men, and then they didn't have X-Men because they didn't own Fox, and then they bought Fox, and then all this shit happened in between where they're going like they might have to sell off some assets or whatnot. But I'm worried about what they're going to do with the X-Men. Right? I'm worried to see what they're going to do with X-Men. That's my favorite franchise, and I'm afraid that they're going to fucking ruin it. I'll be open-minded until they show me the first trailer or whatnot, and then as it gets closer, I haven't seen a Marvel film in theaters since Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That's the last movie I saw in theaters, and I said I'm never going to go watch another one until they stop doing what they're doing. And they haven't stopped yet. So I didn't watch Black Panther in theaters. I didn't watch Ant-Man. I didn't watch the Marvels. I stopped watching the Marvel shows. I stopped watching Miss Marvel episode 2. I thought the show was good as a show, but I didn't like it as a Marvel show. I thought the actress was very good. And I thought if you took away the Marvel brand off of that show and just put that show as a girl had superpowers or whatnot with her quirky friends and whatnot, I think it would have been a good Disney Plus show, but not a Disney Plus show with Marvel. That makes sense? I don't want to be using anything from the X-Wing books. Those books were good when I was 14 or so. Now I'm written by 8-year-olds. X-Force, or is this just something else? X-Force is a completely different other comic. X-Them. Let me see. Yeah, he's got one where they have the Predator on set. I won't show him because if people don't want to see, but there's one with the Predator on set, Then there's one with Mickey Mouse on set, and Ryan Reynolds is holding up a money bag. He's got a bunch of different people on set. I think it's funny. Look, I like Ryan Reynolds. I like Hugh Jackman, and I'm gonna watch Deadpool because I watched Deadpool 1 and 2. But I hope it's good, man. I hope it's good. It'll maybe bring a little bit of faith back into the franchise. But you know it's going to include like the multiverse, right? It's gonna do something with that. I haven't seen a Marvel movie in theaters or paid at home for many years now. I don't plan on ever going back until they give me what I want. It's that simple. More people should do the same. But this is why I brought it up, Crowded, right? Prosy said, how does Digital Foundry be credible? And I said, this is how it becomes, and this is full circle, right? If you want something to be good, then you have to pay for it to see it. You have to support it. If you don't support it, then they fail, right? So I hope they keep failing until they make the stuff, because you make the content that what the customers want, right? You make the stuff that people want to watch. If you have an agenda, you're making stuff that you want and push it on other people, it's not going to work. Right? It might work for a little bit, but then it fails. Altered says, it's funny to me that people are calling out the CW for bad DC shows, and they're also coming to Disney with almost the same Marvel shows. Absolutely. And it's funny because the CW used to have good shows, used to have good DC shows, but then they just throwing shit wherever see what sticks, right? And Marvel's doing the same thing with the streaming service. Disney might be shutting down Disney Plus completely. That's a possibility. They might be losing the streaming service completely. And there's going to be a lot of parents that are going to be pissed off because even though there's a lot of people that hate Disney and hate the streaming service, there's a lot of people that like the streaming service because they have infants or kids and they watch it, you know, and that's what they pay for. This Vizio, a lawsuit. TV maker settles fake 120 hertz class action lawsuit. Vizio has agreed to pay out $3 million to settle in 2018's California class action lawsuit that accused the company of misleading customers over the refresh rates of the TVs. Had been claiming that the black frame insertion technology increased the effective refresh rate on TVs from 60 hertz to 120 hertz. It also applied the same language to thinking that the 120 hertz panel is boosting the effective refresh rate for those sets to 240 hertz, allowing anyone who bought a Vizio TV in California after April 30th, 2014 to claim receive between $17 and $50 depending on the number of... What the fuck is that going to do? What are you going to do with $17 to $50? You see what I'm saying? These companies get away with so much shit. Wait, what are you going to do? $17 to $50. You're going to go buy a Fortnite V-Bucks with that? You bought a TV set that was like $400 that it was false advertisement, and they're like, yeah, we'll give you $17. $50. Only in the state of California. Only in the state of California. New MCU movies are likely Disney Plus TV episodes quality. The reason is why a lot of are not watching it theaters. Well, a lot of the stuff that Disney's doing, they fired a lot of directors, they fired a lot of writers, and they actually hiring people to do actual television for Disney Plus, right? What they were doing in the past was just filming a film and then breaking it up and making it into TV shows, which is not what you do, right? Each show needs to have a smaller story within the episode and a bigger arc throughout the season, right? That's not what was happening in the Disney shows. So they were trying to get away with being just idiotic. Another thing that they're doing is, I don't know why these television networks still feel that they have to make a 44-minute episode with advertisements and whatnot. They're on their own streaming service. They can make it an hour long. They can make it 2 hours long. They can do whatever they want. But for some reason, they're like, no, we got to keep with the 22 minutes, 2 episodes, and whatnot. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I dropped Disney Plus immediately after they raised the price. Never went back, and I'm fine with it. Clip says, how is this new? I've been lying about the hertz on TVs forever. I had a TV that said it was 120 hertz, 60 hertz times 2. South Park Pandaverse was spot on with how Disney handles Marvel and Star Wars. Moon Knight and Loki were great. Did you hear that they just, in the comic books, they just changed Moon Knight to a woman? I think she's a vampire woman now. It's like Blade, but now she's Moon Knight. I didn't like Moon Knight. Yeah, Moon Knight in the new comic book. Hold on. That's not it. Hold on. It happened like a couple weeks ago. It. Yeah, they're killing off Moon Knight. They're killing off Moon Knight. And Moon Knight's friends confirmed during the issue's final page that one of the friends is particular, however, it appears to be wearing Moon Knight's suit in the iconic pendant Reese. The character is a vampire, first introduced in 2021's Moon Knight Volume 9, Number 1. He began to as a receptionist helping out an effort for Moon Knight's congression and then Midnight Mission. Now Moon Knight has been killed off, and it looks like Midnight's mission will continue his work, with some speculating that Reese is in particular taking the lead. However, speculation at this point, but this is back 3 weeks ago. The way her body is and the shape of her, and then what they're looking at the actual, like, inside the costume, like in the comic book, obviously, that she's taking over. So it's worth adding that Reese is also a black lesbian. So they're taking Moon Knight and they're race swapping, gender swapping, and then adding the lesbian aspect of it as well. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And I think they canceled Moon Knight Season 2. And I think they canceled Moon Knight Season 2. The dude says Cartman called it. He sure did, didn't he? Put a chick in it. Make her gay. And look, We can sit here all day and talk, if you want to watch that stuff, cool. But don't be mad when the customer base that made Star Wars what it is, made Star Trek, made Lord of the Rings, made Doctor Who, made all this stuff, what it is today, the conglomerate companies that made millions and billions and trillions of dollars, and then they make stuff, and then nobody wants to watch it, say that they're racist, sexist, misogynistic in any way, shape, or form. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with that you're taking characters and swapping them out for things that are not popular with the base that was already popular, like already fan base that was popular with them. Okay? You want to make a vampire black lesbian superhero, then go ahead and do it. But stop taking over people that we already like. I don't understand how hard it is to understand. And on top of that, the fan base that they're making it for is not watching, is not buying, is not reading, is not doing any of this stuff. Crowded House says, maybe Moon Knight would have been received better if Moon Knight was actually in the show. Yeah. I reviewed the show, the episodes, Crowded. I don't know if you watched any of those episodes back then. But we talked. I was like, Moon Knight again is not in the show. And we speculated, right? And this is what the whole thing was, right? We would speculate on what it was happening, and me and Wolverine would go back and forth and what we thought. And then there was a point where we were just like, yeah, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. It all started with Mephisto. It all started with the WandaVision Mephisto. You know you wanted a steak, but here's mac and cheese, right? Did you see how the comics have made Mystique a dad? No. No, I have not. What in the world? I have no affiliation, right, with Eric July. I'm just a fan because he made a comic book. Chuck Dixon. I'm halfway through this. I haven't read the whole thing yet, okay, of Alpha Core. It's good. It's really good. Like the writing and the characters, right? It's really good. Okay. Brand new characters, right? Brand new characters. New characters, new stories. It really isn't that hard. Now, I read ISOM 1, okay? And I have read through halfway of Alpha Core, and you can tell that Eric July was one of the writers for ISOM, and it's good, but you could tell he's new in the thing. And then Chuck Dixon, okay, you could tell he's an experienced writer, right? And I kind of like it better than ISOM, but I don't think ISOM's bad. But Eric July starting off the way he is, like this man comes out as a genius because he preaches or practices what he preaches. He put his money where his mouth was. He talked shit about what was happening in the industry and said, you know what? I'm just going to go make my own. And he did. And it's amazing that you can make new characters and not have an agenda. I know it's crazy. She's the whole spectrum. Right? And that's a perfect example, right? Eric July doesn't have to have millions and millions of fans. He's making content for people that are fans of his, okay? And he's making a fan base. And he doesn't have to make all the money. He's making money off the people that want to pay for what he's making. And other people are upset about this. Like, how dare you? How dare you? Have you guys seen this? Yeah, Ripperverse, Quintar. Have you guys seen this? This is his first animated thing that they've done, right? It's the official animated trailer for what it, you know, a hype trailer for the comic book, right? This is his first go at this, right? This is the first go. I'll watch a complete entire feature-length film like this. Here, watch this.
Floorspar can be an unpredictable city. Affluency doesn't mitigate its problems. In some ways, it amplifies them. This is why we're deployed. But we've seen better days.
Then why are we just now debriefing?
This mission is not complete.
I only know of her. Our lack of data collection is a problem.
Valdez, I'm aware of your investigative talents. Braxwell spoke
Real quick, I just want to let you know, this is not a TV show. This is a trailer to sell the comic book, by the way.
highly of you, and that's why you're on this team. Local law enforcement handles itself very well. But there are those with abilities. Some believe themselves to be good. Others don't even attempt to act as if they are. Either way, we're involved. Not everyone will agree with our status. But that can be said for anything. May I remind you both, we're Alpha Core, and failure is not what we do.
Right? That's a trailer for his comics. Yeah, Quintar, it's Young Rippa. Yeah. Okay. Again, he doesn't know who I am. Right? I'm just a fan. I watch this content on YouTube, and he's like, I'm making comic books now because I was like, oh, okay. And these are new characters. Imagine making brand new characters that don't have an agenda. He's got his whole criteria of what his what are they called? Hold on. It's his code of ethics. Okay? His code of ethics. Okay? What is not going to be, or what he's not going to do. Okay? And the very first thing, okay, the very first thing is respect the customer. I know it's crazy. Okay? No, it wasn't a Kickstarter, Quintar. It was his own money put up front. and he had his own site. It wasn't a Kickstarter. It was he already had the prints already laid out, and he was just finding people that were interested, and then he sold them. So they went out super fast. This Alpha Core, yeah. Makes me want a game where you can make your own superhero. Isn't Marvel or DC? I mean, they had it back in the day. Right? His code of ethics for his comic books, right, is respect the customer, canon and continuity, and comprehensive timeline. Okay? Which all go back to respecting the player, right? Respecting the customer. Invincible's good, yeah. Here, let me see. Yeah, so he's very transparent. And the reason I'm bringing this up is it's part of what we just talked about, right? How are people credible and whatnot. And then companies falling and blaming you, right? Because you, the customer, are the, right? This was his first campaign, right? And this is not a Kickstarter. This is on his own website. He fronted the money, okay? Made the things. Campaign goal. Okay, his campaign goal was $100,000 for the campaign goal. They made $3.7 million on the first comic. Okay, total purchases 42,926. Okay, this is successful off 42,000 purchases. Okay, 42,000 purchases off of the first campaign. His second campaign. I want to go to the second one. Okay. The second campaign, right? 300,000 campaign goal. Okay. He made $2.3 million off only 20,000 purchases. Okay. And it tells you how many covers he sold for each of the stuff. And then the next one, okay, which is still going till I forget when, end of this month, I think. Okay. 300 pre-order campaign goal, and he's at 1.1 million with only 12,000 people purchased so far. Right? But he's building an audience. He's building a fan base. He's building, and it's not millions of people. Not millions of people. Same, Z. Same. I'm only halfway through the comic. I like that a lot better than Isom. But it's also Chuck Dixon's a much more renowned, comic book writer. Yeah, City of Heroes was great. I'm waiting for that DC Universe Online to get upgraded for console. All right, so to come back all around is that people become credible sources, and because the fans that follow them and give them credibility. Without the people that watch your content, read your books, watch your movies, then that person wouldn't have a platform. They wouldn't have anything to do. They would just be just a regular Joe Schmo and with criticism. I found Eric July right as Marvel's Avengers came out because he was playing it, and he played Hulk. And then I also played Hulk. So I would watch him because he would talk about Hulk and how the game. He didn't like the game because he thought it was stupid because of the co-op and the way they did it. But he played it. He put a lot of time into it. Put over 100 hours or something like that inside the game. That's where I originally found him. And then he started talking about other topics. Well, I like him as a content creator. And then as he talks about comic books and stuff, I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Papa says, 30, I think my biggest issue with superhero stuff is that anything new is just ripped off from the original works. The Boys ripped off of Superman and other things and so on. Sure. There's nothing that's original anymore. Papa. Nothing is original anymore. Right? Something's always ripped off of something else. Even Star Wars was ripped off of other things from like World War II pieces and Shogun type of stuff. Right? So it's okay to be inspired by something and then make your own. There's a difference between that and just taking something and then changing it to what you think, right? Like Superman. To make Superman someone different to fit the criteria that you want because you want to see yourself in him, that's not how that works, right? If you want to make a separate person that has the exact same powers as Superman, and then tell his whole backstory and do all that stuff, great, right? The difference is being lazy about having the same backstory, all the same stuff, and then just making them, swap sexes, swap races. Yeah. Being inspired by something, okay, and creating something, I mean, even Tolkien got his ideas from real life things and then turned it into what it is. And of course, if someone comes after Lord of the Rings because it was so popular and they made another fantasy thing with orcs and stuff like that, it's going to be compared to it. But you don't have to make it. You're not stealing the work and then just copying and pasting. You can be inspired. I mean, Transformers came from Robotech. You know what I mean? Robotech? What is Robotech? It's only stealing if you get caught. All right, what time is it? 12:30, 12:40. All right. I'm done for the day. Good show. At least I think it's a good show. I'll be back tonight for some more gameplay. Not sure if we're going to be playing some Lord of the Rings or if we're going to be playing some more Starfield to get through the main story or not. But tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, if you want some sit down as I play some video games. Be back tomorrow morning for 10 o'clock for more gaming news, and then we'll be back tomorrow evening for the first episode of Generation X Gaming in 2024. I think it's episode 376 or 377. So I appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. See you guys on the next one. Peace.